An Apache went down in the Gulf of Oman, and a drone/autonomous boat picked it up. Let's talk about it.
3, 2, 1, flight toss.
So on Monday, an Apache was quote unquote shot down. What really happened, according to sources, is that a Shahed drone either ran into it or exploded near it or somehow shot it down, but a drone was involved. Now, was it like the UAE incident where they were trying to shoot down a drone and got too close, it exploded and took down the helicopter too, or they hit each other, or it hit the Apache intentionally? We don't know. But what we do know is that the Apache went down and ditched. Thankfully, the ditching was survivable because ditching in helicopters is not fun. Helicopters and water don't really mix, especially not the Apache. So it's unclear whether the pilots were floating in a raft or using the LPUs, life preservers, the horse collar, if you will, and just kind of floating like Maverick and Goose in the water for 2 hours. So they were definitely prunes at that point, very wrinkly. But help was on the way, not in the form of real rescue assets, but the Saronic Corsair, which is an autonomous, it's got AI, and it is a 24-foot drone boat that came to save the day. It can reach speeds of up to 35 knots, has like 1,000-mile range. It's a pretty fascinating piece of equipment. But the pilots managed to pull themselves up into it, which by itself is a feat. You've been floating around for 2 hours in the Gulf, and this thing shows up, and you're like, oh, okay, I don't know how you communicate with it, but do not resist. I'm here to save you. But they got themselves up into the boat that, again, is not made for humans, and managed to go to another location where I believe they were hoisted into a helicopter, although I heard a report that they were taken to land somewhere. But either way, this is the first known use of an autonomous unmanned vehicle for a combat search and rescue operation. So kind of a big thing. We have talked about this with the Wizzo that was rescued in Iran after evading for a couple of days. And people ask about, well, what about unmanned vehicles? And, you know, the question was, would you get into an unmanned vehicle? Well, if I'm bouncing around in the Gulf, anything is better than that. So yeah, whether you'd get into an unmanned helicopter with no windows after being shot down, well, I guess if it's your only option, that's what you're going to do. But this is the first such event with that. And it shows you kind of how the assets aren't really there, because 2 hours is a really long time. I guess it could be worse, but 2 hours is really a long time to be floating around out there without any kind of support. But just goes to show you that the dangers still exist. And as a result, there have been airstrikes on Iranian targets in retaliation for this event. And we are thankful that the pilots are okay. We don't know what their injuries were, but we think probably at least something, right? I mean, you're floating around for a while. You just went into a ditching event. Even if it was relatively mild, it's still not ideal. And it's definitely something that hurt, probably, at least for a little while. So they're probably going to be evaluated, but they could have been injured, which would have made the rescue even more difficult for both of them. But they managed to pull themselves up into the boat and got themselves to safety with the help of the drone that was there to save them. So very interesting stuff. And again, with the tactics with the counter drone, it's a real risk. You know, you get too close and you can end up into the frag because they're explosive and end up taking yourself out. Or if it hits you, or if you hit it, that's definitely a way that you can end up getting taken out. And then there's some drones that we've seen in Ukraine that have been equipped with air-to-air missiles. So, you know, I don't know if they've started doing that with the Shahed drones yet or not, but that could be another thread coming soon. But in this case, it's a happy ending with new tech. And I know the people at Saronic are pretty excited about the idea that their combat-proven AI drone boat has now been attributed with actual combat search and rescue success. So awesome story. We'll talk about it more when more information comes out on the Mover and Gonky show on Monday, but I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let me know in the comments what you think. We'll see you next time.